Okay, welcome everybody to the City of Villa Rica Planning Commission on Tuesday, November the 6th. It is 6 o'clock and this is a call to order. First up is the adoption of the agenda. Everyone's got a copy.
I move approval of the agenda as presented.
Have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
A second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor raise your right hand. Motion carries 3-0. Since at the moment there's only three of us, any decision we make would have to be unanimous for it to pass. Okay. First up is old business. Does everybody have a copy of the minutes? Any recommendations or changes or?
Move approval of the minutes as presented.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Do I have a second?
A second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. All those in favor raise your right hand. All opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Unanimous. Alright, first up is new business.
Good evening, Denise Lyons, Planning and Zoning Specialist for the City of Villa Rica. First we have conditional use permit application CU02-18. Joseph Lutman of Carrollton, Georgia, requested a conditional use permit for property located at 15001 Veterans Memorial Highway in Florence Circle, parcel number 0145-025-0004 and 0145-025-0007. For the purpose of temporary storage of vehicles. Properties consist of 1.09 plus or minus acres and are located in Ward 1. So we received the application from Mr. Lutman, as he is the owner and operator of a vehicle repossession company. The two properties that he is under purchase agreement with current property owners, one fronts Veterans Memorial, the other fronts Florence Circle, but they directly abut each other to the north and south. Everything in that immediate vicinity is commercial or limited industrial, and per the Unified Development Code, towing and wrecking services businesses are allowed by conditional use. As you know, Veterans Memorial is Highway 78. It's already commercial in nature. Florence Circle, though, is a narrow one-lane road that, although the zoning dictates it as limited industrial, all the uses back there are still single-family. The staff analysis in looking at the area, the business that was formerly there was an insurance agency, so there is some paving in the front. There is a single-story structure that was used as the office. Based on the character of the area and some of the things around it, the applicant's not proposing to, at this time, from the application, to make any changes to the existing structure, but wants to use that space to my understanding, pick up repossessed vehicles and store them until they're transported back to the dealership or to the original owners, as you know, the present owner is in delinquency with the payments or whatever particular reason. So staff's recommendation is approval with conditions. So we've listed 8 conditions. The first is to combine both of the parcels together as one. Because that area doesn't look large enough to accommodate maybe the scale of his business, combining them would open up some space for him to do that. But you want to restrict access to the lot to only Veterans Memorial Highway, so that no commercial traffic is traveling around Florence Circle related to this business. We'd also like the applicant to provide the hours and manner of business operation and provide the number of employees working off shifts and their 24-hour emergency contact in the event that police need to reach him, something happens on his property, so that we can make sure that we have record of that. We're also requesting that the property be screened with an 8-foot fence, which shall be opaque to perimeter of the property. Maintain a 10-foot undisturbed vegetative buffer in the rear of the property along Florence Circle, and that's to buffer the commercial use from the residential uses. Just to kind of block light, sound, air, noise, things like that from the residential uses which are currently in existence. 6, all improvements to be installed prior to occupancy. The conditional use permit shall be valid as long as Joseph Ludeman is the owner and operator of the business and the conditional use permit is not transferable. And that's so that our UDC allows that if Mr. Ludeman wanted to sell the business or move on, go somewhere else, within 90 days somebody could come in and take over that business, no questions asked. If we left it to him, then everyone that wanted to come behind him would have to come back to the planning commission, come back to city council and get the same approval that he had to go through. We did advertise this as directed, posted signs on the properties, and since we did receive response to the public notification, I included one of the emails that was sent in by a citizen, and I also had a conversation on the phone with them, and listed in the public response area is what their concerns were primarily: accidents along Highway 78 and Florence Circle, speeding on 78, because of the use of the business being a repossession company, the vehicles leaking fluids or anything like that will go on to neighboring properties. And the person also cited that there are some stormwater runoff issues in the area, and tree clearing, because the back parcel is undeveloped, it's still full of small pine trees. Possible tree clearing may worsen the stormwater runoff issues in that area. So that is staff recommendation with conditions, and the applicant is here tonight speaking on behalf of this case.
I'm the next door neighbor, the manager of the property next door.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, thank you. Okay, so first up is if the applicant would come forward, or a representative of the applicant, state your name and address, and tell us why we should consider this proposal.
My name is Joseph Ludeman. My address is 381 Kenny Lake Road. I've operated this business since 2004 in Carroll County from my residence, and had a business.
Is your mic on?
I think, was that
It's green.
It's one in the back, but I couldn't get one of those, they're all my names.
Because you can't hear you too well, so.
It's all.
Yeah, it's green.
Okay.
And this was over there, this setup was over there, and he would need to really speak where David would usually speak to be caught it on the audio. You gotta speak loudly.
Yeah.
I thought I was speaking loud.
Louder.
All right, so anyways, I've operated my business. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
I've operated my business since 2004 from my home, and within the last 2 years, Carroll County has since changed their mind on allowing me to do that, as it wasn't to zoning. So we're just basically looking for somebody somewhere. I've tried a couple different business locations in Carroll County, and for some reason or another, yet to be disclosed to me, they was both declined. So this is the next best, closest place to me in the area that I work. So I followed the guidelines y'all set forth as far as the staff goes. Industrial use with conditional use permit, which is why I'm here tonight. Also, the ordinances on there said it clearly states on there 8-foot fence, opaque, which I plan to do. And we're just going to use the old, not sure if y'all know the Pike house there we're gonna use it as our office, and then basically the wooded area behind there, we're gonna have that as the storage. One thing that sets me apart from a towing company, a standard towing company that does accident towings and police 911 towings, is the client's already looking for the cars. When you do a 911 tow, when you get that vehicle in, you have to find somebody to get that car from you. Which is why these towing companies get cars stacked up on top of each other, because they can't get the people to come get them, and then they have to turn around and try to sell them to them, and it just boggles up. And honestly, it's a eyesore. The difference is my cars typically are all driven still. They're all registered still, and they stay there a minimum 5 to 10 days. So we're not looking for somebody to come get them. We're not trying to sell them. They're already got a place to go. We're just keeping them there to facilitate and store them until they go to that place. So that's the main difference, but unfortunately, y'all don't have a guideline that kind of I fit in. The closest thing I fit into is the towing and recovery. So I have to follow those guidelines. Security-wise, my lots get inspected every 6 months. If a fence has an issue, that's an issue with my clients. I do major clients, GMAC, Ford, Chrysler Capital, pretty much any main lending company you could think of. I do work for those. I don't do any lots. Most of my cars are usually 2010 and newer. As far as leaking, the cars that I get are not packed. So they're not going to be leaking fluids no more than one parked out in the parking lot right now.
All right. Pam, is there any questions for the applicant?
How do your cars get there?
By a tow truck.
So they are towed to your facility?
Yes.
Okay. They're not driven in or?
No, we don't drive any vehicles that are not ours. So the tow trucks we have are they're F-650 and smaller. So, and we only have one F-650, which is a regular rollback, and then the rest of them are just single cab trucks, like modified from what you'd use on a farm or something like that.
And they're just basically picked up for non-payment?
We don't get into reasons we pick them up. We just have to legally make sure that they have a legally rightful purpose to pick them up. So it's saying...
But I guess my point was they're not wrecked, just like you just said.
Yeah, I would assume it's for non-payment, could be for canceled insurance, could be for some sort of stipulation not met. They don't really tell us.
Gotcha.
And then we verify that, that they have a legal right to that vehicle, and then we proceed from there.
Are you planning to clear any of the wooded area on the lots now?
Yes, sir.
But leave, that 10-foot gap in the back along Florence
The buffer.
as a buffer?
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. Any other questions?
Do you have any objections to the contingencies that,
No, what is important to me is all understanding.
excuse me,
Bless you.
You get me sick,
just started.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so what's been proposed is all understandable. Any one of my neighbors now, the Carroll County wasn't because of a complaint, it wasn't because of noise, it wasn't because of any of that. And I had several of my residents go with me, and it was, we don't have a problem with what's going on. It's been going on there since 2004. So, but anyhow, we take great care on presentation and stuff like that. So, I mean, and we'll be doing a lot of remodeling on that structure just to, keep it as a sound structure. It needs new roof, it needs to be cleaned up on the inside and whatnot too, so. I think that whole little area is almost like a forgotten zone right there. So, and it kind of fits my needs as far as what it's zoned.
All right, thank you. Yeah. Okay, thanks. All right, would anyone else like to come up and speak in favor of this proposal? Okay. This time, would anyone like to speak in opposition to this proposal? Come on up. Give us your name and address and the reason you're opposing this.
I am Jan Harding, and I owned the store years ago, and I sold it, and I'm the manager of the property. I've been affiliated with the repossession business for 30 years. The store is set up for a repossession company. I operated a repossession company there from 2001 up to 2012. I don't know what kind of repossession company because that's totally what he's explained is not the way it operates. The property was first done there. I was told by the city of Villa Rica I could not exit out my back gate because I sat and I cleared it and it's got gravel on it. And they said that it was because it's one lane and it's residential. And it is one lane. Only one car can go up and down it. So we had to tie off our back gate, so we never used our back gate. It's very dangerous going out onto 78 in that area right there. There's sort of a blind spot. I think was actually hit and died from the injuries of the car accident coming out of Florence. The repossession company, the repossession insurance that I had, you had to have the 6-foot fence for the ball program, which we have next door. And it's already set up, and we operated our business there. But we have a setback. So when you turn in a car, you've got to have enough room to get into the gate. The way it sounds to me that he's going to fence it in the front, but I don't even think he's incorporating the right-of-way, because there's a big right-of-way there, because the DOT took the right-of-way from there's a ditch on the other side of my property. And actually, I had asked, I guess you're Miss Lyons?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. I had asked her to get the pictures of the water problem issues from your attorney, because Joe Fowler handles something for me when I own the property, because there's water runoff from 78 that goes across Mr. Pike's, Mr. Pike's property onto my property, and I'm in contact right now with DOT. DOT said that they said that we needed I sent you the information, what the DOT said it needed to be, because if they clear off all the trees, that water's going to be coming out of me. I'm below him. Y'all have been out to the property or looked at it, or if Miss Lyons had looked at it, but I don't see how he's going to set that up at all. Plus, to get the garage keeper's insurance, you have to have an acre of land fenced. That property is an acre of land. So I don't understand. We bought the property behind us and fenced it all the way back to Florence, but we couldn't access Florence, so we had to come in. But you got to have enough room for that wrecker and that car and whatever you're towing. And if you on the repossession company, you don't turn down business. So if somebody calls you and asks you to repossess a tractor trailer or repossess a RV or a motor home, you're going to be doing that. I've done it for, like I said, 30 years. We had all kind of things in there, but we had a wider area to turn around. We actually had a turnaround back there. And let's see, I was trying to think of something else that didn't really sound right. He was talking about a forgotten area. I don't think that should be a forgotten area. I think that property should be sitting in Villa Rica, because I think that whole area right in there, there's a station for Villa Rica. The city truck has to access Florence to get down to that pumping station. And I don't understand why Villa Rica doesn't want it. And as a matter of fact, when we went to court with Joe Fowler years ago, the city, before Steve killed himself, the city manager, they talked about that property because they needed it. But then Steve, killed himself. So I don't understand what happened with that, and I didn't know details of it. And I had talked to Joe Fowler, and he called me back yesterday, and I was supposed to get back with him today, but I was in court all day. So I didn't have time to get back with him, because he had the album with all the pictures of the water. It looks like the Chattahoochee River coming down across the Pikes property where he's walking the store cars. It actually looks like a Chattahoochee River coming down, and we put in a piece of concrete, and I sent you the pictures of that with the police report, because they've had a car come in and damage that curbing that actually keeps the water off of me from the Pikes property. I put in a 6x6 concrete thing to actually ward the water off and get it over to the ditches, because it's never been right. So I don't know what else I need to cover, but you do need, room there. I mean, we used to store up to like 50 cars or more, so, I mean, I think
Facing his property from 78, were you on the right side or the left side?
I'm on the left side.
Left side,
Yeah,
okay.
it's already set up as a repossession company. You have to have a place to store the people's personal property. The people come out and they have to have a place to, get their personal property. And now, even since I've been out of the repossession business in 2012, they have very strict guidelines on repossession companies, and you have to have everything just so. And you have to have everything secured, you have to have your personal property secured, you have to have the vehicles secured, the keys, you have to put them in locked places. There's all kind of, stipulations, and like I said before, I think he's just looking for a place, and I don't see how this is gonna work, so I really don't. I don't even understand why he's not looking at my property that's already set up with everything that you need to run a repossession company. It makes no sense to me. It's for sale. So, the people that own it now have it for sale. Her manager, and I'll look over it for her and take care of it. She actually is in Tennessee, so.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Further information about the repossession business or pictures of the property. I was going to do all that today, and I stayed in court all day. I've got pictures, an aerial picture of the cars and everything, and I don't see how there's enough room to do a buffer, to fence, to have cars, to have employees parked there, people coming and going, to come and get their personal property. Not everybody gets their cars back. And they do send auctions out together, because auctions have come in and out of my property for years. And they come in with 18-wheelers. They parked on the road on 78 to get cars. It's a lot more to it. It's not, just a place, a little spot. Actually, I always wish that I had known a different place, and it's laid out pretty good, really. But anyway, if you need anything else, I'll be glad to send it to Ms. Lyons. I did send you something, so. And I was trying to look for more after I got out of court, but I had to come straight here, so I didn't have time.
Got you.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anyone else that's in opposition to this? Okay, at this point, the public section is closed. Any questions for staff?
Do I get a chance to speak again on that, or how does that work?
It's usually just, if you had something to say, it's for, and then it's against, and then usually that's it, unless there's...
I'd like to hear if he's got some rebuttal.
If you have a rebuttal, that's fine. Is there any time limit we need to have?
Normally it's a 3-minute time limit, but...
Okay. Okay, yeah.
We have time here today.
We would. Like she said, she operated a business there from 2001 to 2012, a repossession business. And I've reached out to the neighboring residents in the back of Florence there, gave them my phone number, met them, shook their hand, said, if you need anything, call me. If you have any concerns, call me. I have no problem working with you on that. A couple of things she brought up was semis parking on the road. I don't allow semis. The cars are in my possession, I'm in control of the cars. If you don't come with the rollback, you don't come. You don't drive them off, you come with the rollback. I make that. It's my business. My clients hold me to a strict, as she said, they hold to a very strict rules. And I put those rules on my transport. So As far as semis, there will be no semis there. The other thing is she says she's not sure on how I'm gonna set it up, except the Pike Insurance property is a larger property than what she was offering. I spoke with the current owners there about buying it as a repossession lot, and they didn't have a problem with it at the time until we couldn't agree with the price, and then that's when the other piece of property right beside it came up for sale, and we agreed on a price, but it's a bigger property. So, those are just two main things. It seems to me like the issue there was what is the price. It's not about what the business is, it's about a price. So, that's basically my concern with that. And the semis, I'm not gonna put anybody's life in jeopardy. No car's worth a life, not in my opinion anyways. So, we would not park semis on the road. So, I don't allow semis to my place now.
All right, thank you. If you'd like rebut and rebut the rebut.
Being that I've worked at two other repossession companies, I worked for Gene Childers in Mableton, I worked for Denny Bishop in Mableton, that was in business for 50 years probably. Then I operated from 1988 to 2004. I always have control over that. A transporter will call you up, they'll tell you that they're coming to get, Blow Joe's car, and you won't know what's coming until they put it in front of you. And you can even tell them, I even told them in the past, like, we're not set up for tractor trailers to come. A lot of times they transport them to like one central location, so they go from state to state picking up cars and, maybe dropping them off in South Carolina, and it's 18-wheeler with, a transport vehicle. And we've actually driven the cars, which now you can't drive cars, they cut that out. But we used to meet them at the truck stop and drive the cars up there because they could not get into our place. And our place is almost the same size. Place might be a little larger, but not much, because we own the property all the way to Florence too. Plus, ours juts out to the side, so in the front it's more narrow. But I handle all of Ms. Wallace's calls, and I don't think we've ever talked to Mr. Liebman. We talked to several repossession companies that couldn't come up with the financing. The last person that called said his name was Scott. He didn't say, he didn't identify himself as Mr. Liebman. And we told him to make an offer, and nobody ever came forward. Because I handle all that. She's in Tennessee, so she doesn't handle all that. I handle it for her. So we haven't went back and forth. I've been her operator since 2012.
Okay.
And I would never gotten back and forth offers or anything, because I would handle all that. And the car just came into off 78 into the lot and damaged the curb and all there, which is on the 27th of October, and that's happened numerous times. So I don't see how you can put a fence out in the front and not expect a vehicle to come off the road, because they have several times come off the road and it's right in that area. I don't know why, they just fly up through there because it's dark, I guess.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I have a question for staff.
Okay, but at this time, the public section will be closed. Okay.
Denise, do you have any comments about the runoff situation here?
I've seen some of the pictures that Ms. Harden referenced as far as the driveway, but those look like they're internal to the property and not in the right of way, from what I could tell. I do believe, though, the properties on Florence, deep down, further down, on those lots, there appear to be probably a creek or some wetlands, and there may be some runoff issues back there. As far as stormwater, I've spoken with our stormwater manager, and I suggested, that's why one of the reasons we suggested the buffer. I asked him if there are issues such as runoff. He said probably, because he knows about the lift station and everything back there, pump station. And that's the purpose of maintaining the buffer, is to absorb some of that runoff. Clearing the trees and whatnot will probably contribute, but maintaining the buffer will minimize that impact or mitigate it some. We do have, in the development regulations, as far as clearing of trees, after a certain point, you have to come and get a land disturbance permit. So anything he's proposing as far as clearing trees, disturbing the land, any renovations to the building, he'll install the fence, he'll have to come see community development, where we could further review the plans, and make sure that, that he's following all the rules that we have on the books. That's about all I got for that.
Well, I drove down Florence Lane back there. That is very narrow, and, there are residential properties back there. But I don't see anything that would alter the current, would be any different than the current situation by this property. It's not going to have access to Florence.
Right, because it's number 2 on the condition.
Right.
Suggesting that
Yeah.
not provide any access to Florence.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Okay, at this time, do I have any recommendations?
I move approval of the conditional use as presented, with the stipulations that staff has implied, that all the rules be met.
Okay, we have a motion to approve this conditional use with the recommendations from staff. All those in favor, raise the right hand.
Need a second?
Oh, do you need it? Oh, is there a second? Sorry, Willie. Motion and a second. All those in favor, raise the right hand. All opposed? Motion carries 3-0. The final determination of this will be at the city council meeting, which is next Tuesday. It's next Tuesday, so you get to do this all over again. So, and that's at 6 o'clock. Start time is 6 o'clock next, so don't miss it.
On the 27th.
27th?
He's gonna go on the 4th Tuesday.
Okay, so it'll be, okay, so it'll be on the 27th, okay. All right, next up is staff comments.
Whitney's Lyons, planning zoning specialist, once, just very quickly, we have the adopted comp plan, it's certified by DCA. Our next step is we're gonna update the website with the clean draft, the new map, and getting copies, all hard copies for yourselves. We're working with the printing companies, well, Tracy is working with them, to get us some bids on getting enough copies for all the department heads and all the commissions, and everyone. Also, staff has been working with Douglas County and the Southern Conservation Trust, in wanting to apply for a brownfields grant, a joint brownfields grant application for up to $600,000 for phase 1 and phase 2 environmental assessments of properties. We decided we felt like it'd be better if we did a joint application as Douglas County or the Southern Conservation Trust or Villa Rica doesn't have enough sites on their own, so we want to have a competitive application. So I hope that we're going to have a meeting at the library next Wednesday, 5 to 7, a community meeting to kind of get the word out about what we're trying to do. We're asking any property owners that, are looking to redevelop their property or, want to know if, want to get interested in environmental assessing their property. This is what their program would allow us to do, is to figure out if anything is, do a historical title property and see what's there and hopefully poise it to be redeveloped. We're looking at areas that are aligned with some of our plans on book. So we're looking in areas like where the RSVP plan is, which is the downtown master plan. We now have the Golden Nugget Trail. So there are properties that may fall along that line in those areas, and those are the areas that we want to look at, kind of help ignite and spark some things to happen in the city.
Is that a joint thing with someone else?
The joint part is that we, as a coalition, apply for the grant. So Douglas County has some sites. The Southern Trust is a conservation nonprofit, and they have property all over Georgia and Tennessee that they hold in conservation. Right now, they have a golf course that's no longer in use in Douglas County that was donated to them, that they want to get assessed for active and passive recreation. And the thing with golf courses, fertilizers and different dyes they put in manicure. There's a water source back there, and that's what they're going to be looking at testing. Douglas County's looking at some properties that they want to reuse for governmental purposes and redevelopment, and just to kind of do some redevelopment and revitalization in their communities, and that's what we're similarly trying to do. So we're looking for people that are interested in the program, that want to learn more about the program, and we want to engage as many people as we can up front and get some support. So that's our first task, is to do that. We're going to have a consultant on hand to discuss the program. I've worked with it previously in Atlanta and in Baton Rouge. In Atlanta, they used a ton of brownfields money for the Beltline. In Louisiana, we did the same for a lot of downtown, which is by a levee, which is where all the ships are passing by. A lot of mid-city, a lot of areas like that. So we use it with a redevelopment alliance to assess some properties, that even houses that are old, lead-based paint, asbestos, things like that, old gas stations, dry cleaners. And we were able to get a lot of those spaces back into reuse. So I know, you can have some great success with it and leverage a lot of that free money into something that sparks something cool in your community.
So this would be both for private residences and buildings that are owned by the city and property?
Commercial, private, public.
For public, okay.
Quasi-public,
All right.
it's held by a development authority. Certainly those properties can be eligible, can be included. So
is it like level 1, level 2 soil testing, that type of thing?
phase 1 is like the title search, to pull up the historical uses. And if they're cleared on the phase 1, you get a clean bill saying, sell it, nothing's wrong with it. And so this gives the owner some reassurance about the property, and gives the potential buyer some. If there's maybe a potential problem, phase 2 would dig up dirt and see what's going on. And then from there, if they say, well, it's still clean, we just thought something might be going on, but you're good, or you might want to seal this part off, or you might need to do cleanup.
Okay.
Most times you don't even get to cleanup because of the technology that they have now for remediation. You don't even get there a lot of times.
Now stuff like former cemeteries, burial grounds, American Indian, that's a different topic.
That's a different topic.
Study altogether, okay.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's just like things like chemicals, former factories,
Right, and not
former
necessarily
dumps.
hazardous materials, but like maybe you dump some old tires somewhere.
Yeah, okay.
Asbestos, a lot of older buildings, you don't know where we use. We were less responsible with our land and environment, with some of the chemicals and things we use in the buildings, but a lot of times that can be abated relatively easily without,
Now, this is wholly different than TAD, right?
In TAD, yes, this is coming from the Environmental Protection, the EPA.
Okay.
So we're applying directly to the federal government for grant money. It's of no cost, like we're going to apply, but we don't have to cost match or anything like that. It would be up to our discretion to, along with plans to use that money towards assessments and hopefully leveraging that into some more investment into our existing infrastructure.
You said this is up to $600,000?
Yes, as a coalition, you can qualify for up to $600,000.
Okay. Great.
All right, and that's all for me.
Okay. Thank you much. All right, next up is public comments, otherwise known as open mic night. You can come up, step up, say anything you want. You are limited to 10 minutes. Any takers? Okay. Okay, sure. Since she's already been up, does she have to say her name and all that again, or?
My name is Jane Harden. I'm very disappointed because the water runoff that Ms. Lyons, I didn't get back with her, I should have spoke with her, I didn't know I was supposed to be here at 4:30. But the water runoff is not on the property itself, it's coming off the Pike's property. It's actually coming off of Florence, across Mr. Pike's property. The whole front of Mr. Pike's property, and I'm sure he would agree, because I never heard anything about rebuilding, and Ms. Wallace had contacted DOT, we're in contact with DOT right now about the runoff, but it does not come off our property. It comes off in Florence in 78. So I guess we talk to her because if they go clearing the trees, there's going to be more water down the house. And if you went down, you should see that it's really wet out there. And, land, it's getting really wet. And most trucks and vehicles go on Florence. And people that are on Florence that we talk to the people on Florence too, that's a little renters. The owners of the homes there, but they rent them out. So we can't talk to the owners there that we know of, because we have to talk to renters. They're still renters there. And it's all very wet, and it's wet when it's there. And that creek also runs in with not again here, and we have to talk to them recently that he has to walk there, because that was into the Bob River ultimately, just like this is that is and we were also told that the city about the everything that's still to us, except with the years. Sometimes we do have access about the cars. And like I said, I've been in possession of this since 1999. And we don't need a choice. And we're exactly whatever it is that I have. I know that we did have that purpose on the property. We didn't save it all because we possession movers did not save it all. We moved, but when I moved, there was anything a large happening about the same as it was. We don't really have to know anything if we're looking for that one people in my family, because I did it at the same time. I did it for that in large finance companies. We didn't have other people that came like we didn't put any control of people to get the order. That's, we're not going to talk about the one up, so hey Joe, just put that file, it don't work that way. So I think it's a mistake, and I don't know what y'all are proposing for that little area that's suggesting out there. I don't know if y'all going to cut off the exit road coming down that goes under the porch there, and you go through the new road, or I don't understand. Because when you come into the river, that's the first property you see. When you come up on over the river, it says river, that's the first property. When you hit 78 and go into the river, that's the first thing you see. And a lot of people go over the city and the town that we see. And if you send us 20 cars in the front, I don't see how it's going to store cars in the front, and employees in the front. So if we found a big section up in this house, I don't see how to do that either. I'm sure that's the reason Phil said no. I haven't been able to do this. I first started my rebuilding, I rented on my house for like 2 or 3 months, and that was it. When I'm back here, just wondering. So, we were picking up 150 cars a month. So, we don't save a lot, like I said, but we don't have to pay up the bill. We have to get on hand and everything. So, we have to more and more people are going to pay me to pay it. We don't have to all the see all the for it. So, I just hate to see that area out there. So, whatever, like bridge, you're looking down, you're seeing that property coming and going. And then you come off Liberty Road, straight off I-20, come down and go up 78, that's the first thing you see. I don't understand why nobody is not like something more from the it's all the same, it's property. My property is not property. They said it was not about starts, but it's not. It's McCrory's. You don't own the last property, McCrory's.
Oh, ma'am, you have to address us. You have to address it.
McCrory owns the new property, but it's a lot. We don't own all the way to. So just owns to the rental property.
Okay.
So I'm just confused as to how that's going to work. How it's going to be presentable for future development or whatever. I wouldn't want to see it go through. So, I mean, I'm come to the village all the time. We eat here, we live here, we're all around here, and I just want more for that area, but if not, just anything else.
Anyone else? Okay, at this time, public comments are closed. Is there a motion for adjournment? We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? We adjourn. Thank you all very much for attending.
What is this? Application is lying. Yes.